several states after the election. The tags containing offensive remarks were reported in multiple states, including Alabama, Georgia, and Michigan. The FBI is aware and coordinating with the Justice Department and other federal authorities. A fast-moving wildfire in the mountains of Ventura County, California has grown to nearly 20,000 acres since breaking out Wednesday. Severe winds are worsening the situation, with Santa Ana winds expected next week, increasing wildfire danger. President-elect Trump announced Susie Wiles as his White House chief of staff, making her the first woman to hold the position. Wiles, a Florida native, was his senior advisor and ran his Florida campaigns in 2016 and 2020. And streaming service Max announced it will begin cracking down on password sharing soon, with efforts ramping up through 2025 and 2026. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 at BINnews.com.
New Schools for New Orleans, along with Allstate Sugar Bowl and Entergy New Orleans, would like to send a huge congratulations to our class of 2024 New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Award honorees. This year, we had 90 Teachers of the Year from each public school in New Orleans. Each of them was recognized at our annual gala, where we had over 350 attendees. We're excited to also share that each honoree is receiving a $1,000 classroom grant. Thank you for everything you do, teachers.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Wake up, New Orleans. Yeah, I'm here. No, Dr. White, now we up already.
Wake up.
Good morning, Dr. White.
Good morning, OT.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm great, actually.
Yes.
It's a good day. Today
Yes,
is a good day.
You are. Yeah, it is. How would I say? Let's make it Fabulous Friday.
Your favorite day?
Yeah.
Next to hump day?
Yeah. You remember? I like to get to the top of Wednesday.
Yes, and slide on down.
Right in to the
Yes.
weekend. Yeah, it's I got some stuff to do
Mm-hmm.
around my house today.
Okay.
And me and Ollie gonna cut the grass.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I got somebody to cut part of the grass, but I'm doing this on purpose. We save some of the yard.
So he can cut it.
Yeah, so him and I can get out there because I want him to get used. I see so many kids, man. Then not only do they not do work around the house or yard work, they don't even clean up their room.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh no.
I think I was blessed in that area in terms of a son that wanted to be clean and neat.
Right.
Like his room has never been an issue because he wants it clean and neat. I think
That's
his
good.
room might be more neat than mine, but
well, I'm
Yeah.
messy. I'm messy until I see it and then want to.
I mean, because I have that teacher thing. I'm reading everything. I'm looking at everything. So it looks orderly to me because it's mine. But for my son, that wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, it's gonna do some stuff, cut some grass, take some of the clean out some of the gutters.
Okay. I'm not doing any of that.
Yeah.
I'll pay somebody to cut the grass. I'm not doing any of that. Like, now I take out the trash because my son isn't home anymore.
Mhm.
Like I mop and all of that kind of
Right,
stuff.
right.
Now I'm responsible for a dog. I got Cameron a dog years ago for his
Okay.
birthday. Years ago, at least 10 years ago, however many years. And now he's gone. And somehow I didn't equate him leaving to me having to now be responsible for his dog.
Last night I did something when I finished my schedule. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a karaoke night at Patio 17.
Oh, it sounds fun.
It was so much fun, and I thought I could slip up in there right and give me a little.
Oliver, you 7 feet tall, light skinned man. Like, it's just like that.
and the young man who was hosting, he was really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have Amazon Prime. I used to have all that stuff, but I'm not because you have cable.
Mm-hmm.
That bill goes up without you even knowing.
Yes, it does.
And
That's why I
even
don't
when-
have cable.
Even when you negotiate it down, you'll
Mhm.
find out it'll go back up on you, right?
Uh-huh.
So I canceled a lot of those extra streaming services. And so I don't have Amazon Prime. And my Jamar Chase, my cousin,
Yeah.
he plays for
Mm-hmm. I know
Bingham.
Jamar.
So I wanted to watch
Rummel Boy.
the game,
Mhm.
and I went there to watch the game. I went got me a little spot, and I figured like they having fun, they ain't paying no attention. Boy, and all of a sudden the guy host said, "You can't slip in here, Oliver."
You can't. Like, I don't know why you thought you could. But I don't know if you know this. Yeah, Jamar went to Rummel, and Carr played Rummel last night for homecoming.
I know.
Yeah, it was almost
Carr didn't play Rummel. Bryce, they're gonna check them all in men's birth certificates.
Man-child, number 14.
Rummel was supposed to be the second best team in the state behind. No, they didn't play Rummel.
Listen,
They steamrolled them.
I think Carr is on a redemption tour because there was, they're on a redemption tour, and
The quarterback just a junior.
and he's been like that, John. His dad is a coach as well. His coach actually. He's been that way since the park.
Oh,
so there's a program at this point.
John Curtis.
They did. Shout out to the other purple
program.
Yeah, the other purple.
I was like, man, no, Carr didn't beat them people. They steamrolled them.
And here's the thing. So Mr. McNeely, he called yesterday. Nola Love was yesterday. I spoke there. It was really dynamic.
Good.
I want to tell you what happened at Nola Love. But he called on his way to the game, and Carr was losing at the time. I say losing. He said, "Yeah, we losing 21-20. I think it's like
it was 21-20.
I said, okay. He said, "I'll call you and give you an update on the score."
Right.
But I wasn't waiting on him to call me. I started looking for the score.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And I looked at it. The third time I looked, I was like, yeah, this game is. They don't found their rhythm. But what Carr has to stop doing is opening up after the game starts. You got to play when the game starts.
Rummel could have scored double their score and still lost.
Yeah.
63-20.
Man-child. There's a kid, number 14. They call him Man-child.
The wide receiver?
On Carr's team. And there's one highlight that I saw where he dragged the child to the end zone. He wrapped him up like he's supposed to do for a tackle, but he just couldn't bring him down. Them legs kept moving.
He reminds me of my family friend, Racy McMahon.
I know Racy. Mm-hmm.
And if it wasn't for injuries, Racy would be
absolutely
one of the top receivers in the NFL.
I agree.
But so hopefully he'll get back, get his body healthy. But
I agree.
Yeah, no, yeah. I was sitting down watching the karaoke, listening to karaoke, watching the game.
To put up almost 70 in a football game is insane. In high school, it's insane. And it wasn't against like a opponent that you expect to score 70
top
on.
Teams in the state.
Yeah. So hopefully, Carr can put the whole puzzle together this year.
Well, a couple years ago, I think Bryce had one of the best teams. He said they were on match.
Oh, absolutely. I know the team you're talking about.
But they didn't play their best game.
Did not.
They play when the playoffs, they played one of their worst games because that team was literally unstoppable.
I was at the game, and so that year that you're talking about too, Aaron Anderson was on the team.
Yeah.
He's an LSU kid now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that team could beat anybody in the country.
And Fatty's at in Florida. He's playing. That team was awesome.
That team was awesome.
And then the injuries, and then the because one of the kids on the team, he was shot twice, 2 separate shootings, and he still God blessed him and covered him. He was still able to come back and play, but it was just life-lifing. But hopefully we can put the program back together completely.
But ain't no putting that program.
No, I'm just saying to the end. Hopefully we could go the whole way down.
Hopefully they play up to their potential. If they play their potential every game, it's 60.
And Carr has a solid quarterback. He's solid. Yeah. He can read and
he's just a junior.
His dad is amazing too, though. So shout out to both of the Purples this week. We get to celebrate both of them.
Well, I will say this. One of the things in life that disappointed me was that, and I'm not going to say the name or where he went, but one of my family members didn't go to Carr. If he had went to Carr, I believe, and he wound up doing well, D1, but I think he had went to Carr. If he had went to Carr with Bryce and Jabbar and that group, I think life would have been different.
Listen, I believe that for a number of people. I think that was the main reason my mom sent me to Carr because my entire neighborhood went to Landry. Yeah. So it was just something to send me in a different way because I see my friends every day and she just wanted something different.
But you know what though, Doc? When you think about the history of Carr when it was the junior high, right?
Mm-hmm.
I never forget it was Lawless, Carr, and Woodson.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Carr had a program in junior high.
Yeah. Well, I went to Clark when it was 7th
So
through
the
12th
history-
grade, when it started to become the high
The
school.
history has always been.
And
there.
when I was there, the junior high school, we had nightmares about was Gregory. Like
Well,
when
yeah.
I went there, it was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but-
and
yeah.
so
Yeah, that's
Phillips.
good.
I played Gregory, played Phillips. That was the
but
schools we played.
Gregory was Gregory,
Different.
Woodson, you know, Lawless with track and
Different.
football.
Even Carver,
Yeah,
different.
Yeah.
Like, and so I remember all of that, and I think, people forget what those schools were then. The athletics. I mean, it was like bring it like my friend Ashana said, bring it sand to the beach. Those schools had athletes
504-582
everywhere.
9422. Do y'all remember?
Fauché.
Because Doc younger than me, man.
And I
but she
remember.
understands the history of those schools.
Absolutely.
They were legacy schools.
Absolutely.
They were legacy schools.
Absolutely. Like you knew when
you had expectations of living up to the legacy.
and
Go
when you
ahead
went
on.
and when you went to a game against Culver, the whole Ninth Ward was
absolutely.
in the building. That's when you had the community support.
Absolutely.
They had their rollers in their hair, but
That's
they was
right.
in the building.
They
I
were
remember
legacy.
that.
So why
our
would
kids
we
don't have
change
that?
legacy
We don't have
schools?
that. There was just a post recently on social media where Landry was playing a game against a school that bought all kind of support, and maybe 12 people were in the stands for LB Landry in terms of support. And it's heartbreaking because
And in
Landry has one of the richest.
in the 60s.
and-
Landry was Carr.
Yeah,
in the
my whole
60s.
family went there. Like my mom, my aunt, everybody went
I
there.
know the Wilson- the
I love
Wilsons
Landry
and all
because
of
of
them,
the
the
legacy to
family.
my family. But the conversation on social media was kind of asking the folk, where are the folk to support
Right.
these people? And Landry has one of the richest alumni associations. Huge. Huge. There's no reason why the community can't show up. Algiers can't show up even if you don't have kids there.
Yeah.
Just go to the game. It means a lot to those kids to have some
I
sort of
think
support.
You know, because of your family,
Yeah.
and because of your pedigree, right? Because of who you are. But Landry, man, look, I never forget a Greyhound, James Gray, Pops. I mean, King.
Yeah.
Man, many of those guys from their basketball team. James Gray was a Greyhound, but was the number 2 pick in the NBA.
My cousin Billy went to Landry.
King and them went to win national championship at Cameron College in Oklahoma. They won national championship in their division. Them guys went from Landry to win championship.
At the time when my cousin Billy went to Landry, they called him 12, like the number. 12. Everybody knew who he had NBA star power very early. Like the games I used to tell you about where the Fisher would go to the Desire play.
Ghost, Lewis McGee.
They called him
Ghost.
Phenomenal basketball player.
Yeah.
Kerry Lavinette out the
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
Phenomenal
Yeah.
basketball player. David out the project.
Yeah.
But Kerry died. David is still living. But David was one of the best basketball
Ghost and them
players
played
on the
at
West Bank.
UNO.
I remember it all. But I'm also a lover of sports.
Sports, yeah.
So even if I don't play, even before I was old enough to play, I was always watching.
Do they have anything at the high school honoring those great players and those great teams? Is anything displayed?
Listen, you just put it out there. I do know prior to the new building, there were always pictures and things because my mom
Right.
was on the wall of fame
Right.
for Landry. I told you she ran for the New Orleans Super Dames.
Right.
My mother still had track and field records on the walls of Landry currently, but the new building, I don't know if that transferred to the new building. I don't know where that would be.
Thinking now, man, you absolutely.
I mean, those
You're
schools,
absolutely correct, Landry.
listen, every school in New Orleans had
Yeah.
what we call dogs,
Yeah,
right?
they
They
were
were
legacy schools.
dominating in athletics all over this city. I can remember the Lawlesses, the Forshés, the Carvers. I remember.
Lawless didn't lose a track meet.
I'm talking about crazy.
There were years.
Yeah.
That Lawless had Robert Woods.
I remember.
Houston Oilers international sprinter Robert Williams.
I remember.
Jolly Flag. Every
Culver girls.
Clark, my cousin Andre.
Culver
Bowler.
girls were
Was similar.
dynamic
But Culver's
on the track.
boys
Yes.
beat DeRitta, who had the state record in the
Yes.
mile relay in
Yes.
the meet champions.
And a crazy
who had the national record.
And
Carver Boys beat them in the meet champions.
And I'm gonna tell you what's so crazy about it. When people don't think about it, that was raw talent. They didn't have the equipment and the best of gear and all of. You know what I mean? I don't remember having quality things to like rehab like these kids have now, and pools where you could run in and rehab and all. And they were the athletics then. I think will give the current athletes a run for their money. There was some serious athletes back then across the city, every school.
Do you remember some of the legacy schools we're talking about? Did you go to one, right, where you can remember that proud history that got not only got you to go there, but got the community? You're absolutely correct, man. You'd go to a Carr junior high football game.
Yep.
It would be
In
like
Algiers,
it would be
absolutely.
like Carver and Clark or St. Aug and
It was the thing to
35.
do. It was the thing to do.
It was the thing to do.
It was the thing to do. And when I played at Carr, that was the team that I played on right now is still, we went the furthest into the championship run than any team, like as of late.
Right.
There was one team at Carr maybe about 4 or 5 years ago that got to the same round that we got to. But they, I think they want to, I don't know if they went around further than us or right with us, because our patch, we're still like, that was the furthest the girls have gone. And I was on that team. But the boys, they've won state before, you know, in football and basketball. The girls have won it in track in my era. And so it was always a fun time. I was a real athlete. I loved it. And I didn't play basketball with the girls until it was time to play with the girls.
Yeah.
I trained with the boys. So, you know, and that was just what it is. I think that's what we're missing. We're missing this idea that we had rich history in our schools, and somebody needs to try to revitalize that because...
Give us a call. Let's walk down memory lane Friday. Yeah, but it shouldn't be somebody try to revive that.
Yeah.
If you got school board members out there listening to us, they ought to revive that.
Well,
someone ought to go through the archives, right?
Yeah.
And
stop
go
acting
to
like
the-
there was nothing to celebrate. There's a
someone
lot
will
to
go
celebrate.
and have that stuff
Yes.
posted up in the school so kids who go there can know. Landry was so good in the 60s that they actually took some championships from them because of players. You know, they just try to do the same
Landry
thing.
was so good in the 90s. We have to talk about, like, they were good in the 90s.
Yeah, I remember being a speaker for their...
Yeah, and that's what I don't understand. But I think that's a disconnect too, Oliver, in terms of pride.
Yeah,
a lot of our
Caleb.
children don't understand the pride of the school because so much about it is washed away and nobody's talking about it. They can't see it in pictures. People are not walking history for it, and so they don't get it. That's one thing Carr has, that we have walking pride. Like anybody that went there can tell it to you.
We're going to go to break, but if you can walk down memory lane Friday on this fabulous Friday with us, what do you remember about the legacy school you went to? Or what your mom and them told you? 504-582.
Fashion shows were happening at school.
9422. Oh yeah. Look, lunchtime.
Absolutely.
Right? The little play they would put on. Anthony Bean would put on a play at lunchtime.
But I'm talking about
and you'd
real
go in the
fashion
gym.
shows, because even if you had a uniform, you had the best shoes on, your hair was done, the bamboo
You had
earrings.
to dress.
You had to dress. Yeah.
You had the rag. We called it rag. WBOK 1230 a.m.
What New Orleans is talking
Oh,
about.
look, give us a call, guys. Walk down memory lane with us, man. What was your legacy school? Whose station?
Our
You know
station.
it's our station.
Start your day off right.
Just getting your day started.
Early morning gospel on WBOK 1230 a.m.
Good morning and happy Friday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. Breaking overnight, the New Orleans Police Department is investigating a shooting in the French Quarter near the intersection of Iberville and Charter Streets. We're told it happened around 1 a.m. Police say one person was shot and taken to a local hospital. There's no information on a suspect right now. Then the NOPD is also searching for the person they believe committed a string of armed robberies in the French Quarter and Marigny. Investigators say 2 armed robberies were reported on Frenchman Street and 2 others in the French Quarter. The crimes happened between about 7:30 and 10:30 p.m. Wednesday. Call Crime Stoppers at 504-822-1111 if you have any information. It is day 3 of the state's special session on taxes. Yesterday, some major resolutions were voted on by a House committee, including House Bill 1, which would eliminate the current 3-tier individual income tax scale and replace it with a flat 3% tax rate across the board. This special session must end by November 25th. That's the Monday before Thanksgiving. And finally, in Jefferson Parish, local leaders will commemorate Veterans Day at Lakeside Shopping Center. It's happening this morning at 10 under the Veterans Skylight, which is near the Apple Store. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU. Have a great day and a better weekend.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Delgado Community College offers programs in business, technology, health sciences, and the arts. With over 100 career-focused degrees and certificates that are affordable, flexible, and transferable, we can give you the knowledge and skills to succeed. Delgado is a great fit if you're starting your post-high school education, or we can help you advance or change your career. Take a step toward being unstoppable at Delgado Community College. Visit dcc.edu to learn more today.
Experience the heartbeat of New Orleans at the 2024 Treme Creole Gumbo Festival. Join us on November 9th and 10th as we indulge in an array of gumbo offerings crafted by local chefs, each bringing their unique touch to this classic dish. Live performances featuring the Soul Rebels, Brassaholics, Tanya Boyd Cannon, Charmaine Neville Band, and many, many more. Visit us at www.tremegumbofestival.com for more information.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
We are back. We are back. Dr. Wyatt, OT, man. Iron on the box. It's Fabulous Friday, but legacy. Man, we were talking about, so what was your legacy school? Man, look, I went to Cardi, Lawless, and Clark.
I went to William J. Fisher in Etna Carr.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who was your principal at Fisher?
Miss Carol Eggerling, the Carol Eggerling. We
Ain't
didn't
no
even
doubt
have.
about it.
We didn't have.
She would get me to come all the way across the river. Come talk to my children.
Listen. Let me tell you something about Miss Carol Eggerling. Listen, we didn't have. You know how they have the PA system where you could ring the bell now.
Yeah.
Miss Carol Eggerling had a handheld bell. And I guarantee you, when she rang that bell, you got where you were supposed to be.
She would have me come all the way across the river. She said, I know you ain't from over here, but bring your big old red.
I can remember when we didn't have AC units, and she went to everybody and she said, because my children gonna have air conditioning, they're not gonna be in here in the heat.
You know what I loved about her?
Everything.
She made sure that the people from the outside world were there for her students to see. She didn't care, and she would call you herself.
Did you know that we received an accommodation from the White House? When Miss Carol Eggerling was the principal of William J. Fisher Elementary School.
And she would walk around. She would come meet you by the fence.
Guess who I talked to yesterday? Ooh. My auntie Linnell is friends with my 3rd grade teacher, Miss Eloise Boggs. And we have been trying to reach her, but my uncle's funeral is tomorrow. Right. So Linnell decided to give her a call, and she picked up. So I said, Linnell, let me talk to her before you go. And she handed her the phone. Right. And I said, hey, Miss Boggs. And she said, hey. I said, do you know who you're talking to? She said, no. I say, Ashanta Wyatt. Right. She said, Ashanta. I said, yes, Miss Boggs. Do you remember when you took us to Atlanta in the 3rd grade? That was my first time on the airplane. Miss Eloise Box, third grade, William J. Fisher.
Now, Henderson was the school across
the street. Yeah. But we don't talk about them because that's not my school. that was in my school. I didn't go to Mara Henderson. I went to William Jacob Fisher Elementary School.
Was something else.
Home of the Eagles.
She was like Dr. Crump over by Edison, but I didn't go to Edison. Yeah.
She still is that way.
Line number 1, Reverend Calhoun. What's up, Mr. Man? How you doing?
I am doing extremely wonderful this morning.
Good.
And we already know only the brightest and the best was allowed on the campus of George Washington.
On the campus of where? Where is that?
Where
is it?
You went to
no. What school? I didn't hear.
You went to Fortier, didn't you?
Don't play, Oliver. Only the brightest and the best was allowed on George Washington Carver Senior High School campus.
Ain't nobody down.
We gave Carver their flowers too. I was telling Oliver, Carver was formidable, baby, across the board.
Carver also back when Reverend Calhoun was there, had one of the top track teams in the country.
Excuse me. Which is speaking to the importance of community schools.
Yeah.
It's important that people realize that we need to have schools within our community that our children can attend. And I think it's necessary that the recognition of those schools be put somewhere that the community can see. You understand? When Arthur Morrell and Johnny Jackson was playing basketball at Carver, a lot of people may not remember that. Yeah. A lot of people may not remember why they call him Tombstone over there at Landry.
Yeah,
he played defense, and you didn't come around that corner.
In the Hall of Fame with the Denver Broncos, Rich Tombstone Jackson, absolutely, Landry.
Like you say, Wilson Bowie.
Yeah. All of them Wilsons over at Landry too, man. They were unbelievable.
We have to get back to that.
That's what I'm saying. The history is long and is really rich with those schools that we look like we're losing the identity of. So it's interesting to me that we can go to UNO and find out in those archives the championships and the people that played. Yeah. We had folks go to the Olympics.
You know what's funny? I don't want to cut you off, but you just brought up something that was so important, right? I'm thinking about now all of the because we usually highlight Reverend Calhoun, the folk who went to D1 or went to the NFL, but all of the local schools. Xavier was one of the top small colleges in the nation, with several pros who came from New Orleans who went there, who went to the pros.
XU.
Right? Bruce Seals, Slick Watts, Sherry. All of them guys were All-American athletes. They didn't have to go back to the Alabamas or the Michigans, right?
Yeah.
And then Dillard had Marble Pratt, man. Maxey, guys who were from here. You know, who filled up those schools, who were some of the top schools in the country in their division.
Yeah. We just have to find our way back to the pride of our schools. Right. We have to.
What you say, Rev?
One of the top coaches in our city played for the Indianapolis Colts. Now he passed, but that boy was nothing nice. He went to Xavier Prep. He couldn't get in a good school either. Mom and Dad had to pay for him to go to school.
What was his name?
Our coach, man. Oh, Lord. That's the only problem with this age level.
Oh, people forget about the bald kid. I forgot his first name. At the Indianapolis Colts free safety. He was one of the best. So you're absolutely correct, man. Walk down memory lane with us. What was your legacy school? What do you remember? But look, Carver used to have them men on the track team, right? And you know that because we grew up with them in the Lower Ninth Ward.
Straight.
I don't know how they was in the same grade with me.
Listen, I'm telling you, I could remember running against Carver girls. I promise you. Let me explain something to you. And I was nice on it. I can remember this track meet is ingrained in my brain. If Coach Hardy is listening, Coach Hardy was my coach at Nakar. He can call here. The coach, the number is 504-582-9422. And we ran on the relay, right? And my leg, I got beats on my leg.
Right.
And so when the 4x1 came,
Right.
I told Coach Hardy, I say, I don't care what leg she on, that's the leg I want to be on.
The one who beat you.
Because I need to get,
You
I
need to
need
get her
my
back.
leg back.
You need to get her back.
I need my leg back.
Thank you, Rem Calhoun. Rem Calhoun, have a great
Wayne
weekend
Reese
too,
is the
man.
coach that I was talking about.
Who?
Wayne Reese.
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on. Yeah, man, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm liking this conversation. We need y'all to call. The number here is 504.
What's your legacy school? Who do you
9422.
remember? And what do you
The
remember?
only thing I got to tell you, Oliver, I do recall that they used to have, whenever we played Clark, that they used to have the boys and the children in the stand holler, "Run, Daddy, run!"
And a lot of security.
Yeah.
Listen.
Listen. Boys that used to have them jobs doing school hours.
Hey, look, you remember one of the top West Bank coaches of all time, Coach Riley? Remember when he was at McCarty? When he was at McCarty with us?
And guess who Coach Riley coached? My mother.
Yes, indeed.
Sandra Wyatt. Yes.
Appreciate you, Rev. Rev, have a great weekend,
yes.
man. Line number 2, Miss Alicia. Good morning. God bless you. On with Dr. Wide No T.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Everyone. And I want to join the legacy of, like you said, Dr. Wide, the McDonough 35.
Hey, Coach Doug.
Ron Eagle.
Coach Doug.
Where Ron Eagle soar.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to catch up with a couple of things, but let me say this to Reverend Calhoun. I am so sorry that he tried so hard to get in 35. We had to keep moving the school so he wouldn't find us to try to get in.
They actually moved the school because he kept showing up without admission. I heard that story too, Alicia.
So he wouldn't be able to get in. He just couldn't take no for an answer.
That's a good one. I'm gonna use that one. Reverend Calhoun kept showing up at 35, and they kept telling him you don't go here, so they moved the school.
I think we are in our 5th or 6th building running from Reverend Calhoun. But I'm gonna give Carver this. When everybody go around and say that St. Aug was the first to do the Who Dat chant, that's not true.
Right.
It was the Carver Rams of the fall of 1978 that first did the Who Dat chant. And I know because my cousin was the first female drummer over there. We used to go to Carver's games just to participate, to support her. So it's the Carver Rams that were first to do the Who Dat chant.
Well,
let me come back to
the big rivalry is when Clark fell off in the late 70s and 80s. The big rivalry was Carver 35. Especially the homecoming pack. Fill up Ted Gomley.
I'm gonna say this about Clark, okay? Y'all were the best dressed.
No.
We just talked about that.
Y'all never wore tennis shoes. Y'all always had those hard shoes.
Had to.
Starched up. I mean, all y'all were models.
Yeah, remember them Clydes? I was 6'4", walking around the school 6'8", 6'9".
But let me say this also. At 35 now, we were not known for our athletic prowess. Y'all know that.
But Coach Doug and some of the basketball teams were good, though.
Oh, Coach Doug, absolutely. That's what I was about to say. We may not have been great in football. We had great players in football, but we dominated in basketball.
Yeah, y'all had Evan Robinson, Sparrow.
We had Sparrow. We had
y'all had some players.
Myron Lee, who runs the He runs
Myron.
the bingo uptown.
Mm-hmm.
Cassine. We had Wayne Kendrick.
Oh, absolutely.
Oliver, let me tell you, I think there's a story you all need to bring Wayne Kendrick in. Wayne Kendrick's family has been the owners of the shoe sign at the airport.
Yeah.
And they're still there.
Yeah. Well, the Kendricks used to split their loyalty between Clark and 35.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and let me say this about the girls. We are called prissy. They say you could tell a 35 girl because she's so prissy.
I wasn't gonna say that but you know how y'all understand.
That comes from Miss Velda Benjamin. She taught us how to be ladies, and that's why we was called prissy. And the legend of the sequence, They laughed at us. They called us all kind of names because we didn't wear cotton uniforms. We wore sequins. We had the most statuesque majorettes.
Right.
I was the captain of the Eaglettes, and it was just a wonderful time. And I wish those were the best 4 years of my life.
You miss one thing though. You miss one thing, and you know you gonna shout amen when I say it. Y'all had them real good basketball teams.
Yes.
And y'all band. Everybody wanted.
Oh, absolutely. My best friend was Lloyd Polite. We had 4 at that year. We had 4.
Oh.
And the year before that, we had the twins, Andrew and Andrea Sanchez twins. But we did, and Lloyd's son is a musician and singer now. His son is. They used to call him Lil Lloyd. They just call him Lloyd now. But I wish kids could experience what we experienced back then. I wish that they could have a little bit of what we've experienced back then. Lifelong friends, fun, education. And there's this guy who I don't know if you know Fathead. Everybody knew him as Fathead. Nobody knew his real name. And when we would call out his real name, who is that? Well, that's Fathead. But Fathead was a clown. You hear me? He was a clown in the classroom. And just like Nat is a big administrator over there at Frederick Douglass now. Nathaniel Lane. He was a clown.
I watched Nat score 52 points in the game when he was playing at Southern at Suno. When I was on break here, we wasn't playing.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. No.
But he was a straight clown in school.
Yeah.
And to know that he went to college and mathematics was his major.
Yep.
To this day, I'm astounded. But again, I end with saying I wish these kids had what we had. And I wish we had the opportunity to bring it back for them. Go Ron Eagles.
Listen, Miss Alicia, you know I love you, but I done let you throw that Ron Eagle stuff around 3-4 times now. When you talk about these schools, that's what our children are missing. They're missing that camaraderie and that banter back and forth. Like, we love our schools. We absolutely love our schools. And now our kids are going from school to school to school, neighborhood to neighborhood, and there's no real connections to their schools anymore. And I just think that's the worst part about what is currently happening with our school system right now. The pride of talking about your school and all of its heroes, and it's just not there. It's not there.
Wow. Well, hey, look, we're going to go to break, guys, and we'll be back after the break, 40 minutes past the top of the hour.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, We're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter, from real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
This is wellness advocate and host of Change Your Water, Change Your Mind, Pastor David Patan. Every week, I'm educating you on how to be healthier by making simple changes to your diet. So join me every Saturday at 1 p.m. and let's get better together, only on WBOK 1230. What New Orleans is talking about.
Welcome to Liberty Bank and Trust, where your financial journey transforms communities. Since 1972, our customized banking solutions power your dreams and fuel your community growth. Every dollar you invest with us circles back to empower more people, ensuring opportunities for generations. Join us at Liberty Bank. Together, we empower possibility. Visit libertybank.net to start banking with purpose. Liberty Bank, there's freedom here.
Hello, Jaguar Nation. This is Chris Powers, the voice of your Southern University Jaguars. Southern is back at A.W. Mumford Stadium this week, and we want you to be a part of the action. So don't miss a play right here on WBOK, 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about. Join myself and Hall of Fame coach Pete Richardson for this Saturday's game as the Jaguars host the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats. Countdown to Jaguar Kickoff pregame show starts early at 1:30 p.m. and kickoff begins at 2 right here on WBOK, 1230 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 a.m.
We are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. I am your co-host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt, in studio with Oliver O.T. Thomas, and Nyron is behind the glass holding us all together. We've been talking all things legacy schools this morning, and if you have a story about your legacy school, the number here is 504-582-9422. And speaking of legacy schools, speaking of athletes, we are getting ready to have a conversation with Percy Master P. Miller. He's on the line with us this morning. Good morning, Master P. How are you? Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
How you guys doing?
We're great. How are you?
I can't complain. God is good.
Listen, I don't know if you were listening on the conversation before you joined us, but we were talking about legacy schools, and we were talking about the athletes of New Orleans and all of the Culvers and the Lawlesses and the Carrs, all of the schools that made this city what it is. And I know you're a basketball player and you come from this city, so do you have a quick story about your legacy school or the school that helped grow you into the man that you are today?
Well, Booker T. Washington and Warren Easton.
Talk about it.
I graduated from Warren Easton, and basketball changed my life, saved my life, and it made me have a team spirit in my business and everything that I do.
Well, listen, shout out to Warren Easton. Shout out to Booker Teleforia Washington. Listen, there's a friend of mine that loves her some Booker T. Washington. So shout out to those schools as well. And thank you for bringing your history into. And listen, thank you for what you do across this country on behalf of the city of New Orleans, for being an ambassador for us. And now you have this new project that you're working on. Can you talk to us about this NOLA Walk of Fame?
Yeah, the NOLA Walk of Fame is something that I created a long time ago, and I've been fighting to bring this to life a long time. It's difficult to be able to put names and plots on Canal Street the way that they do this in Hollywood. They recognize all these global stars in Hollywood, and that started in 1953. And I looked at it and said, wow, we got so many incredible trailblazers from New Orleans. Imagine if we did that at home. But you got to go through so much red tape to get this approved, to get this done. I mean, it's been a challenge for me. And then, looking at like Martin Lawrence just got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And it's been a long time. You would think that Martin Lawrence was a mega star and he should have been had that, right?
Yeah.
They charge $75,000 to put those stars on the ground. And so for me, dealing with the business people in New Orleans and, knowing how we should be able to come together. We got some successful people in the city of New Orleans, but I feel like we could be stronger together if we really believed in the community and the culture and put our money back into the community and the culture. And that's what I'm doing. We are beautifying Canal Street. As I know a lot of people say, oh, crime happening on Canal Street. No, this is the way we change that. In order to do better, we got to know better and we got to look better. And so us beautifying Canal Street, we got 4.5 miles. So we picked 50 people, 50 trailblazers for the Super Bowl, and we went through the process with a committee. So we able to put 50 down for the Super Bowl, but it would be thousands. I mean, this will be going on after. This was an idea that I always wanted to celebrate the trailblazers from New Orleans, and being able to have Lil Wayne be the first one is so important, and this is history. So February 6th is going to be history. It's actually really happening. It's a project that cost $6.5 million, and I've been doing all this on my own. So New Orleans, y'all be patient with me because I'm standing up for us and celebrating the trailblazers of New Orleans. And we're going to get to maybe your favorite ones. Maybe you didn't hear them in this 50, but if they done something trailblazing in New Orleans, they will get a plaque. And also, this would be a good time to make the people that's running their mouth shut up, put some money up and help us put some of these great people on the ground in the city of New Orleans on Canal Street, on the sidewalks in Canal Street, so we could actually celebrate our trailblazers. So that's the dream of mine that finally came true, to be able to celebrate our people.
Well, listen, I appreciate the work that you're doing, and I also want to tilt my hat to you guys for what I consider to be reconciliation in the largest form that I got to witness when the Hot Boys and Baby and even you, like there was always some talk about No Limit and Cash Money not being able to coexist, but to see y'all on one stage did so much for this city in terms of a path forward. I grew up on the No Limit Hot Boys era. I loved it. And the kids now don't know y'all like we know y'all, but to have you on that stage with Baby and to have Baby on that stage with Wayne and Turk and BG, it did something almost in terms of healing and bringing this community together. That was a big thing, and I'm proud that it happened. I'm happy that you were there and a part of it. I know Mia X was happy to see it. I love her. It just went a long way, and that's something that this city has been wanting and waiting for so long.
That's what you guys have to realize, right? That's the growth. That's what we are, and that's what's doing the right thing is about. I got so much respect for Baby and Cash Money. I got so much respect for Lil Wayne, the Hot Boys. But that's why we honoring Lil Wayne with this Florida Elite, this Walk of Fame. Like, he deserves it. He's one of the greatest rappers alive.
And I was so happy to hear you say that to him, like giving him his flowers while he still can smell them. But you also, I think it's awkward to like pat yourself on the back, so I'll do it for you. But you're also very instrumental in his growth to becoming that, because without No Limit, we wouldn't have a Cash Money. That's just the truth. Y'all were the first people to break that ceiling for this part of our community, and then Cash Money became what Cash Money was. But you gotta put yourself in that conversation too, to say that like you were a trailblazer as well in terms of what you did to put No Limit on the map and ultimately put New Orleans on the map. But can I tell you something from a place of love? Can I suggest something? Here's because we had this conversation about it, and I'm very, very passionate. I do a lot of community work here. Would love to have a conversation with you face to face. But for me, I'm very protective of the city of New Orleans. This idea of a NOLA anything disturbs me because they're changing so much about the culture of this community, and they're trying to wash out everything that makes New Orleans, New Orleans. And so for me, I love the idea that you continue to say New Orleans, even though the Walk of Fame sounds like it had NOLA in front of it, but as I'm talking to you, you keep saying New Orleans. You are New Orleans. I am New Orleans. And I want people to understand that you can't wash us away by rebranding us as NOLA. We are New Orleans. And so just consider that. And this idea too, Master P, about the fleur-de-lis, the history of it. I love B. Mike. B. Mike and I went to high school together. He's a phenomenal artist. But I just would like to consider the full picture of it when we turn in terms of putting our heroes and the people who trailblaze for us. Me personally, want to just express my concern with it being a fleur-de-lis. There is so much racial history in terms of how they branded slaves with the fleur-de-lis. And that's my 2 cents. And I'm just saying it from a place of love because I do respect who you are.
But I want you to listen to this and listen real good.
Okay.
The fleur-de-lis for us, it represents the city. Like whatever those people been through in the past, we can't change the past. And that's what I want you guys to know, but we can change the future. That's why I had Big Mike draw this, and he's from our culture. And you see, this is a colorful fleur-de-lis. This is us. This is not the past. This is our culture. This is the real New Orleans. This is us loving us, and I'm happy to represent that because this is the future. And when you look at New Orleans, everybody, you guys got to imagine what I've been through to put this out. And I went through. So I'm not into politics. I don't associate myself like, oh, I need to do the right thing for this one and that. No, but you got to realize New Orleans is a messy city. That's why a lot of people move out. And so I had to move to come back to realize that, man, all we do is talk about each other. We start mess, and most of us that's doing that is not putting nothing back into the pot to make a difference. I mean, we ran Tyler Perry off from New Orleans. Why did he have to go to Atlanta to put this amazing studio? This should have been able to be done here.
Oh, I agree.
Everybody has an opinion, so we have to take those opinions and say, you know what? When we talk about black men that's doing something that's come from this city, y'all know that we've been through a lot. And when you talk about no limit cash money, look at the people that come from that. Imagine we had to survive getting killed in the ghetto. We had to survive the police brutality, and now we got to survive our own messy community.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree with you on all of those points. I absolutely agree. I know what the struggles were. That's why I said I tilt my hat to you. I know what you had to endure.
Thank you, sister. And that's why we got to have this conversation in love and let God lead us on this journey because, you know, we're not going to be able to make everybody happy, but us doing something. Because I really don't have to be doing this. This is an idea of mine. It's like nobody gave this idea to me. Say, hey, Pete, I need you to do this, and we're going to give you millions and millions of dollars. No. Like, this costs $6.5 million to do, and this costs $50 million to put one of those plots on the ground on Canal Street. Like, this is us coming up with this. This is us changing the way they think about us. I mean, we got business people. We got successful business people in this community right now that they don't care about us. They're not going to give to us help. I mean, our kids are dying on these streets. So that's why I'm saying I'm educating our people about business, but I'm also showing our people that we could change and grow and we could do some of the things and we can create some of the ideas that we have. And so y'all just be patient with me and then educate me, just like we having a conversation in love, educate me so I could help us because I need to get out here and show people that this is what we need for our people, and this is that we are growing and that we are learning together because wisdom is the most important thing. People think is money. No, wisdom is what's going to get us to the top and able to bridge the wealth gap. And so that's my thing is helping us bridge the wealth gap. But at the same time, this thing that I'm doing is being able to spotlight the ones that wasn't getting spotlight during the Super Bowl time. And then we're going to deal with thousands to come after this.
Oh, so, absolutely, Master P, because with the comment you made earlier, there's so much talent and so much trailblazing that happened out of this community. You'll be laying those things across this entire city for as much space as we can hold. So,
which is a blessing, y'all, for a black man to be able to do this in a city that has more Afro people than anywhere. Yeah. And we're not at the forefront, y'all. And so this really a fight. it's a fight, but I know that God is leading me on this journey to be able to help spotlight and celebrate and honor my real trailblazers. So we're definitely gonna get to the ones, and I know people at home that got suggestions. Go to NOLAWalkOfFame.com and send your suggestions in. And I know that before it's over, those people are gonna get there. But let's not take that light off the 50 that we have here right now. Let's celebrate them, and then we're going to keep educating each other on this process, because this is my idea. This is not their idea. They didn't come up with this. They didn't tell us. But you know what? They try to stop it, and they're going to try to stop it. So imagine us being able to do something on Canal Street.
Right.
People that look like us. Like, this is tough, y'all. Our ancestors went through slavery. They went through all these different things, right? Civil rights. But us in business, to be able to do stuff for our people, because this is bigger than just putting those names and plots on Canal Street, right? This is a curriculum. Just like you said, this is going to be high-tech kiosks on Canal Street, so where you could hit a button and put your hand there and say, hey, Lil Wayne started making music in such and such year, and now he's doing this, and you'll be able to know everything about these people. And this is going to be incredible, because we're able to give that to our school system, and now we could keep that history going. And we got ones that's on here that passed a long time ago. We're going to be able to bring them back into our kids. Now, I know that we had a lot of other great people that look like us that did great things for the city of New Orleans. So that's why I'm excited about this, y'all. So this is only the beginning, though. I want y'all to know that this is only the beginning.
Well, listen, listen. That's why I qualify my comments with telling you that it's in love, because I appreciate who you are. I appreciate who you've been to this city, who you've been in terms of pushing the culture of New Orleans all across the globe. So I would never, want to discredit or discount anything that you're doing. That's why I said I want you to receive this in love, and that's all it's about. I love when black men and black women can talk
I'm
not
passionate
from a place.
about our city. I'm passionate about our city and our people. And I know that if I'm not doing this, then it's not getting done for us. Because this should have been done 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Like I said, the Hollywood Walk of Fame has been around since 1953. So we behind, y'all. So God has put this on my heart to get out there and say, you know what? I'm going to do something for our people. I'm about to spotlight, about to celebrate and honor these trailblazers that nobody even talked about. This has been way before my time. And I'm glad that God put this on my spirit to go and do this, because a lot of people have left New Orleans and don't want to come back, because they don't want to deal with the inner circle of, they're going to say this, or this person going to go on the internet and say that. But no, you know what? I loved it, because I want the people to be able to express themselves, but also look at the big picture. Like, we got to stop holding each other back. I'm on building us up. So you're either part of the problem or part of the solution. So if you ain't part of the solution, I really don't even want to talk to you.
No, I appreciate the feedback, and I appreciate that we can have the conversation. They're showing you and your family a lot of love in the comments. One of the comments says, "Good morning, Percy. Congratulations to your kids too, on and off the basketball court, man. Thank you very much for the information." So listen, that's what conversations do. They bring out varying perspectives, and then we could better understand each other. So I appreciate your clarity around why you chose the symbol and why you made it colorful, why you chose Be Mike, all of that. So listen, it's a learning moment for us all. So thank you for that information. So what I will ask you before you have to leave, because I know you're a very, very busy person, what is your vision? What is your vision for the lasting impact of this project beyond the initial unveiling in February 2025?
Yeah, so February 6th, we're going to cut that ribbon and we're going to make history. But we're also going to take care of the community and the culture, because this is a 501c. When you look at the Hollywood Walk of Fame, it's a 501c. This is how we'll be able to feed our communities. We'll be able to educate our people, give back. We could have people donate. Go to teamhopefoundation.org and make a difference with us. Being able to have something like this is the way that we're going to keep the culture in the community going. We're going to keep the culture in the community talking. But we're not just going to talk. We're going to be able to do stuff. through this, because this will turn into a museum soon, and this is something that's created by us. And like I said, it's being able to have Big Mike to make our Florida League. So that's what I want you guys to know, like, because we can't get away from that, but we could do what we do to make this us. And I feel like this is us, and that we support us. February 6th, we're going to have people lined up all down Canal Street, and we're going to make a change, and we don't have to sit around and wait for them to tell us what to do, because we are doing this for us, and we are feeding our people. We're feeding families. So stick with us, be patient with us, and also educate us, because we don't know everything. I don't know everything, and I'm not perfect. As long as I have good people around me, and just like we having this conversation, I want us to continue having this conversation, but I also want us to invest in us, because this is going to take real money to keep this going. And just know that they don't want to see this. And so maybe they might not support us, but we don't need them to support us, because we are stronger together. And that's what this NOLA Walk of Fame is about. And naming it NOLA is only the shortcut for New Orleans. So I want everybody on there to know that it would have been too long to be what it is, but just know that's what that means. This is the New Orleans Walk of Fame. And we abbreviated NOLA Walk of Fame, because when I talk about New Orleans people, I'm talking about New Orleans natives. And I love them because this is me. This is where I came from. People counting me out. And y'all know every day when I get up and go do business with all these giants across the world, they can't believe, man, you come from New Orleans and you change your life, and how you able to give back and help so many people. I just say, you know what? It's in us. It's that native that's in us, and I'm going to go up against the world. Like I said, that Lil Wayne show, right? It's us against the world, because when we together, we don't care who it is. So we might fight and fuss at home, but guess what? If we ever somewhere out in the streets, we're going to support. If I'm anywhere and I see Lil Wayne, Baby, Cash Money, it don't matter. Whatever we going through, don't matter. We're going to stick together and go do what we got to do. So I just tell them, the city of New Orleans, it's time for our people to stick together, to stop all this negativity, to stop all this mess. And let's grow in love, and let's see that we are doing something that they never wanted to see us do, and we able to do it now. So I love y'all. Let's keep going. Let's keep growing, and we're gonna change the world, because it's gonna start with us.
Thank you, P. And let me tell you something else. I want to thank you for not only always repping New Orleans, but for bringing your resources back to the city that helped to grow you into the man that you are today. So on behalf of the city of New Orleans, I want to say a heartfelt thank you to you and your entire family and your entire legacy for being who you are and what you've been to the city of New Orleans. So thank you for your service to this community. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good day. Listen,
right,
guys,
right.
we've been talking about the NOLA Walk of Fame with Percy, Master P. Miller, and they've identified the 51st people. Wayne will be the first fleur-de-lis to go down on the ground on Canal Street. So listen, it was an enlightening conversation. I'm glad that we had it. And the idea of having a difference of perspective doesn't mean that we have to be disrespectful in the conversation. And so I appreciate having the conversation in love with Master P, and I wish him all the best. Stay right here with us. We'll have more conversation. WBOK 1230 a.m. what New Orleans is talking about. are back. We are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show right here on WBOK 1230 AM. I am your host, Dr. Ashanta Wyatt. We want to tilt our head again. Master P is an icon from this community, and I want to tilt my head again to him and tell him thank you for everything that he's done for this city, on behalf of this city. Thank him for who he is to New Orleans, icon, and you heard it right here on WBOK 1230 AM. We were talking all things NOLA Walk of Fame. He assured us that it's just a shortcut for saying New Orleans. We understand that, but I'm going to always say New Orleans because I just think that, you know, some sections of this community believe that they could erase us or push us out by trying to rebrand us in terms of what they want this city to be. And I'm going to stand firm in my New Orleans roots, and I'm going to always show love to the culture bearers of this community, and that's who Master P is. So thank you for joining us this morning and spending your time with us. We have a call on line 2. Welcome to the Good Morning Show, Papa Baptiste. Good morning.
Good morning, Doc. Comment ça va?
How you doing this morning?
All you have to say is ça va bien.
Ça va bien.
All right, hey, darling, listen. I wanted to holler at Percy because Percy's father and David Baptiste and the Gladiators, Percy's father and I go back to the 60s, where we were good friends, and from that point till today, we still are. And so we'd love to be a part of something that PNM is doing. You know, we have one of the biggest entertainers in the world ourselves, John Baptiste, out of our family. And then my legend, I'm the only father right now with 2 sons in the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame. So you know we want to be a part of what's going on here in our city. That my son Damon is doing wonderful things. He's with the culture barrier of our family, going to Africa and all parts of the country, France and Japan and all the other countries that we have toured and traveled, representing our family. So those kind of concepts had been in my head about doing something like that. I'm glad PNM stepped up and doing what they're doing. Our city deserves the recognition for our contribution to music and the arts and entertainment and the culture bearers of like Benny Pete and the Hot Eight, you know, Shawty, James Andrews, trombone Shawty, James Andrews family, Kid Jordan and his family, Marlon and everybody. So we got a lot of super musicians. We don't just have regular musicians. We have super musicians that and artists and rappers that come out of our city. So I just wanted to extend my congratulations to P and the mayor and everybody for putting this together. Anything that Papa Baptiste could do to help, to be a part of that, I'd love to. And once again, congratulations, P. And tell your dad, Percy, David Baptiste said hello, Daddy.
Thank you so much, Papa Baptiste. We appreciate you. So look, we were having some conversations around legacy schools and the pride of New Orleans prior to our call with Master P. And Master P shouted out his legacy schools, the schools that helped grow him into the man that he is today, and those schools being Booker T. Washington and Warren Easton. So shout out to those 2 institutions as well. But if you want to join in on that conversation about legacy schools and you have a story that should be historic to this city that our kids should know about, or some historic figures that our kids should know about that they don't know about, the number here is 504-582-9422. I wanted to let you know, I know you don't see Oliver with us right now. He had to step away. He had a little emergency. Everything is okay. Everything is fine. We will absolutely see him on Monday, but I just wanted to say that I always miss sharing the mic with Oliver, but life be life and things happen and he had to step away, but you just have me now. So what I want to continue talking about is something that I heard Reverend Calhoun bring up, and I know he was leaning into the direction of talking about the possible impending closure of Martin Luther King down in the 9th Ward and the importance of having neighborhood schools and schools that our kids can attend without having to be bussed all across our community. So whatever you can do, if you're listening, to support Martin Luther King in their fight to secure and hold on to their school. I believe that is the only school down in that area. And so if we close it, we're not only closing a school that fuels the entire community in terms of jobs. But you're taking a school away from a community, and as you do know, schools are the heartbeat of the community. And so if you take it away, where goes the community? And so I am concerned about it. I think it's important that all of us are concerned about it. It doesn't necessarily have to be your community to be concerned about it, because this entire city belongs to all of us. And so if our children don't have viable education options in their neighborhood, that tells you that the viability of the neighborhoods is not there as well. That's almost like not having a grocery store in your community. You should not have to leave your neighborhood to go and find nourishment. That is weird to me. And food is nourishment for your entire body. Education is nourishment for your mind. And so if we don't have a body and we don't have a mind, we do not exist. So we should all come together and do something to support Martin Luther King, whatever that should be, whatever the resources are that they're lacking. Let's come together and fill that school and put it in there. I will offer myself up for service. If there's some academic needs and you need some guidance on how to get those in line, I will do it. I don't need to work there to help you. I just need to be able to make certain that our children, my children, have a viable school in the 9th Ward to attend. And so for me, I've always said we cannot close our way out of failure. And that is what I believe. If we are to make certain that our schools are sustainable, then we need to have action plans put together to combat whatever the issues are. So if it's fiscal issues, we need to fundraise. If it's personnel issues, then we need to employ people. We need to do some searches and get some qualified people in the seats. If it's resources, we need to give to the school. Something has to happen so that we ensure that that school stays there, that that neighborhood remains viable, that our children have an academic option in their neighborhood. We cannot allow that school to close. So the same energy that we rally around the Leah Chase School, we need to use that energy to rally around the Martin Luther King School in the 9th Ward. And that is just my 2 cents of it all. I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't work there. I don't have a child that goes there. But guess what? I am New Orleans, and Martin Luther King School is New Orleans. And if we care about our city, if we love our children, then it is all of our responsibility to make certain that that school is viable. That is my 2 cents. We have a caller on line 1. Good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show, Shedrick.
Good morning, Doc. Doc, I tell you, it's hard to come after what you just said. Thank you on behalf of our community for what you do for our children. As you're saying is, let's call a thing. This is real. It's important and it's incumbent upon all of us to save this school. When I was attending New Philippians Baptist Church, which is in the Lower 9th Ward, a lot of our school drive went to, clothes and book packs for that school. Doc, my legacy school is where I went, St. Augustine High School. But every school should be our legacy school. Doc, how we talk about the St. Aug and Carr and et cetera, and y'all whipped us, but it's all good. We gonna live to fight another day. In reference to people being honored in the city of New Orleans, and I never want to pit one against another, but I wonder how many people know that Mr. Fats Domino, a black man, again, from the same area where the school is, from the Lower 9th Ward, I believe the same street, sold back in segregation over 60 million records. He was idolized by Elvis Presley and the Beatles, a black man from New Orleans from the Lower 9th Ward. So I would hope that he would be high up on that list. And thank you for allowing me to say that.
No, thank you for your comment. We appreciate you calling in. Have a great Friday, Cedric.
You too. Bye-bye.
We have another caller online, too. Good morning, Piper. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Hey, good morning, Dr. White. My thing is that if there's trouble at the school, we have a school board. We can't just say, okay, well, the charter board does certain things. This is where the school board should intervene. And if the school board needs to make it their second school, direct run school, so be it. But keep the school there, and the priority placement should go to the residents of that community. but keep the school open and run the school. We can't just say close the school and then everyone on in that area have to, like you said, get shipped uptown, across the river, things like that. No, because the school board's priority should be educating the children of New Orleans. So putting them on buses 6 o'clock in the morning, that right there is a detriment to their education getting going. So just keep this for. And now we have a board. The elections are done. Now it's on us, the citizens, to engage with the board that we do have a voice with. And that's my big push, is that force them or push them to just don't close the school, but just run the school. Take it under their own.
Well, let me give you my insight, Piper, and I want to be very clear when I say this. In order for our school board to do its constitutional duties to run our schools, they have to want to do that. And right now, we have a board that has no interest in directly running a school. That's the danger of what we have in this city. We don't have a school system here. We have a system of schools, and our current seated school board has no interest in directly running schools. There was a fight to get them to direct run the Leah Chase School. So it's going to be an even bigger fight to then ask them to take on a school that they consider a failure already. And so it's going to be a huge fight to do that, especially when the numbers on the board don't lean toward local governance. The numbers on the board are leaning toward allowing the charters to have full autonomy. And that's the problem, that's the conundrum that we're in here. And with the current elections that we just had, the numbers sway even more to the side of allowing the charters to do what they want to do instead of having the local school board run our schools. So that's just going to be an uphill battle. Not saying that we don't want the climb, not saying we're afraid of the fight. It's just going to be a huge, huge fight to encourage them to direct run schools instead of closing them or giving them to another failing charter. That's our main issue here, Piper. That's the entire fight. That's Dr. Bowie's entire plight, with him trying to get our local school board to govern our district, our parish, the same way all of the other parishes are governed. That's the main foundational fight here. But thank you for your commentary, and I wholeheartedly agree with you. They ought to be running more schools, but that's the reality that we're living in. It's going to be an uphill battle. But thank you so much for your commentary.
All right. Have a good weekend.
You too. A call. The phone lines are lit up. We have a call on line 3. Reverend Wallace, good morning. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
How you doing this morning?
I'm great.
I would pray and hope that every religious leader, every school board member would call Dr. Bowie's office, our council, our full council, Elena Moreno, J.P. Morrell, all of them get out there and hold a news conference in front of this historical building over there to keep this school going. No matter what happened with the financial status of that could be rectified. But that is a historical site. The President of the United States, Obama, was there. The SCLC held one of its conventions when they were down there. They went to that site and held meetings and stuff there. It is a very important print for that area down there. It played a big role during Katrina. And so we need to get out there and say, no, not this one. You're not going to do this time. We spent millions of dollars on somebody to get the contract for buses, and we mean to tell you let this school close? I mean, I'm hoping Troy Carter and others, and I'm hoping that the clergy down there will call a news conference and invite the community out there to stand out there and stand up for their school. This is our fight. The next mayor of the city, who you want to run for mayor, you need to be out there standing up for that school. And Dr. Wyatt, I thank you. I need you on the school board. I need you at the council seat. We need some serious representation for these communities in New Orleans that are being overlooked. We're spending a lot of money, FEMA money, and all this kind of money, and we have the same reoccurrence problem in our community. It's always us getting something closed.
I absolutely agree with you, Reverend Wallace, and I stand with you. Whenever the press conference happens, I will show up to support it. I will have something to say. So I think it's time for the real New Orleans to stand up, because the New Orleans that I remember wouldn't allow folk to come in here and punch us around and we do nothing about it, especially when it comes to our children. We were fierce we fiercely defended women and children in this city when I was coming up, and I just don't know where that fight went. I believe it's still here somewhere. It's under some layers of trauma, but we need to unpack it, and we need to get back to the business of protecting what's ours. And I have no problem. I'm a Algiers girl, but I would gladly come to the Ninth Ward and fight for children. Absolutely will I. So let me know when and where, and I will be there. So thank you for your commentary, Reverend Wallace.
I will put it together. The Louisiana Coalition for Change, I put something together and fought Kyle when he got elected. I had my news conference out there. I will put something together, and I hope the community come out, not support me, but support the cause that I'm standing up for. Because you know how we are. We so much about who we associate with. I don't care if you associate with me or not, but come out for the cause.
Well, I'll
It's
be
bigger
there.
than me.
I'll be there. Give me a time and place. I will be there.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Reverend
God bless
Wallace. Have a good day. The phone lines are lit, y'all. I want you to join this conversation. The number here is 504-582-9422. Melanie on line 1. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Good morning, Dr. White. You're a breath of fresh air. You are what we need right now. But I wanted to share my legacy school. It's Gregory Junior High School.
Oh, we
Phillips
talked
Junior
about
High
Gregory
School,
this morning.
And then JFK. But one thing I know about Carl, they used to kick our butts every time. Carl is nothing nice, I tell you. But I understand what you're saying. I had a neighborhood school that I went to, and those people loved you. And this coming Saturday or coming up, I know we're going to lay to rest my 9th grade homeroom teacher, Miss Cheryl Gardner. Oh, my gosh, she was amazing. We don't have teachers like that, and we desperately need that in our community. I came from a community where the PTAs were packed. You had the church, you had parents, everybody, the whole neighborhood stood you up. You're talking about love. You're talking about when you walk in the neighborhood, people knew who you were. They knew who your family were. We need to get back to that. That is an understatement. And to this day, we still talk about our high school, junior high school, even elementary experiences. We still connected with each other. Where did it go? I don't know. We need it back desperately. And I am so glad to hear you on WBOK. I mean, you're contagious.
Thank you so much, Melanie. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful Friday. Listen, I'm enjoying this conversation. I want to kind of pull some of the commentary out the chat. We're talking about legacy schools, and Joe Bowie said something that I have to say on air. He said legacy schools had legacy teachers, and that is exactly what we're missing here. We have a revolving door of people who come in and out of our children's lives and spaces, and there's no buy-in, there's no trust, there's nothing to hold them here. Because they're not from here. They don't believe in the value of growing here. And so the problem that we're having is this huge disconnect where that pride is missing from our schools. We had teachers who lived in our neighborhoods. We could see them in the grocery store. We could see them in church. They were friends of our parents. We could hold them accountable to what they were doing or not doing for our children. And it's grossly missing here. And we have to get back to the business of making certain that our children are good. The proverb says, how are the children? Our children are struggling, and that's a problem. And when our children struggle, our community struggle. We cannot stand by and allow them to strip Martin Luther King from the 9th Ward. And whatever you can do, if you don't want to say anything, just show up at the press conference in support of it. If you don't want to say anything, just show up at the school board when they have it on the agenda to show support for it. You don't always have to be boisterous to show support. You don't have to say anything to show support, but standing in solidarity with something and for something is all the support that is needed if you can't do anything else. Show up. Larry on line 2. Welcome to the Good Morning Show.
Hey, how you doing, Doctor?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm just fine. You know, I've been hearing you talk. I heard Percy, Master P talk. You know, I've been around a few years, and Harlem had a renaissance. I think New Orleans is going to a renaissance. You know why I'm saying that? I'm hearing people talk from every aspect about the black community. You know, I never want to patronize you. I know that'd be a big mistake.
I come in peace. I come in peace, Larry.
I ain't trying to patronize you, but I see a little girl, in the Fisher Project, and that's your roots, and you bring that with you everywhere you go, which is good. Because when I travel a few countries that I've been in, and I always think back, reflect back on my Lafitte Project, Treme, and Ninth Ward grounding. That seemed to get me through everything, Doc. And I'm seeing that in you because you have a cross to bear. The other people like to hear Master P make millions of dollars, been to California, come back and want to do certain things. I never seen this in a long time from different aspects of New Orleans where everybody said, well, it's time. Maybe the election did this to us, but it was happening before the election. So I'm just here to kind of give you your props that, you know, I see you. Like that, the old thing say, I see you.
Thank you.
So when you go out there, you might not have a lot of people behind you. You think you do, but you being a person that you are, I don't know if they'll come along, but you do what you do.
Thank you so much. I received that, Larry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great Friday. Listen, we have to go to break, but on the other side of the break, we're going to talk to Cindy Dunn, Realtor Cindy Dunn. I believe she has a team with her today. You know, you bad, you got a team behind you. She's going to talk to us about all things real estate, all things financial freedom. Stay with us. But I also want to say this really quickly before we break, because we're having a really important conversation about the Martin Luther King School. A meeting has been scheduled at Martin Luther King High School Auditorium on Thursday, November 14th, 2024 at 5 p.m. concerning the closure of MLK. So if you're free on November 14th at 5 p.m., join the conversation at the auditorium at MLK. Please do everything that you can to be there, and if you can't, send someone. But on the other side of the break, we'll have a conversation with Realtor Cindy Dunn right here on WBOK 1230 a.m. what New Orleans is talking about.
NOLA Public Schools' main round enrollment for kindergarten through 12th grade is now open. With 73 schools available through the NOLA Public Schools Common Application Process, or NCAP, finding the right school fit for your family is easier than ever. List up to 12 choices to maximize your chances and apply by January 24th. We're all in, and we hope you are too. Apply today at enrollnolaps.com. That's enrollnolaps.com.
Hi, it's Dr. Shepard with Honeydew Products, here with your Medical Minute. Did you know the average American woman uses about 168 chemicals every day? Common soaps, shampoos, conditioners, and makeup all include prominent and known toxins. These include sodium lauryl sulfate, 2,5-diamine toluene sulfate, PEG3 cocamide, formaldehyde, decamethylcyclopentasiloxane, and chemical fragrances. However, the risk of being exposed to these chemicals is higher for Black women. Allow me to quote a study from environmental research. Hair products used by Black women and children contain multiple chemicals associated with endocrine disruption and asthma. Because use of hair products differs by race and ethnicity, these products may contribute to exposure and disease disparities. They tested 66 chemicals belonging to 10 chemical classes. The hair products tested contained 45 endocrine disrupting and asthma associated chemicals, including every targeted chemical class. They found cyclosiloxanes, paraben, and fragrance marker diethylphthalate, DEP, at the highest levels, and DEP most frequently. Root stimulators, hair lotions, and relaxers frequently contain non-phenols, parabens, and fragrances. Anti-frizz products contain cyclosiloxanes. Hair relaxers for children contain 5 chemicals regulated by California's Proposition 65 that were also prohibited by the European Union Cosmetics Regulation. Targeted chemicals were generally not listed on product labels. To learn more about healthy hair and healthy hair products, give me a call. It's 504-858-4696.
This has been your Medical Minute with Honeydew Products on WBOK.
Visit DePaul's new Algiers Health Center at 2801 General de Gaulle Drive to receive primary and preventive care for both adults and children. Services also include behavioral health, imaging, and on-site pharmacy, vision, Medicaid enrollment assistance, and more. For appointments, visit DePaulCommunityHealthCenters.org or call 504-207-3060.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK 1230 AM.
Welcome back, and we are back. Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. We were having some fire hot conversation. The phone lines were lit. Everybody wanted to get into this conversation about legacy schools. Everybody wanted to get into this conversation about how do we save not only Martin Luther King, but all of our schools from simply closing without community intervention. And right here in the studio with us, we have Realtor Cindy Dunn and Realtor Javon Jones to talk about all things financial freedom and financial responsibility, home ownership. And as we were talking off air, Cindy reminded me, because she's just so brilliant like that the conversation we were having about the fiscal viability of Martin Luther King goes into the conversation that we're going to have. So what is your insight in terms of school closure with this idea that there's some sort of financial issues happening at the school? Because my stance is, if it's a fiscal reason, then crowdfund, raise some money, pour money and finances into the school, but don't close its doors. What do you say there?
Absolutely. So I first want to say that my background is in criminal justice. So I have two undergraduates, in criminal justice and substance abuse, and I have a master in juvenile justice. So I just want to put that on the table so you guys know that I'm qualified to have this type of conversation. So as cliche as it may sound, we do know that when education is low, crime is high. So wherever we decide that we're going to close a school, we have to figure out what's going to happen with those kids. There are some kids who go to school every single day to eat lunch because maybe they don't have that at home, or to see their friends because the community that they live in doesn't align with their lifestyle. So what we need to do is make sure that we get the funding, right, and the resources to have that school thrive. And that can look many different ways. I don't necessarily know. I don't necessarily know if I have the answer to that or not. But I do say that we do need more resources and we need some funding for that particular neighborhood. Why can't we have the same resources that our counterparts have in their community?
Well, I think that we can. I think that we also have to find good stewards of our resources, because this is a conversation from experience for me. My school that I ran had the same issues, fiscal mismanagement. It had nothing to do with what was happening inside of the schoolhouse. It had nothing to do with the daily happenings in terms of leadership. I was the school leader. I made certain that my children had what my children needed. But we have to make certain that when we're turning over the purse to folk, that they are good stewards of our resources. And sometimes that is all a matter of making certain that the right people are in the right positions to do the right thing by children. So
At the right time.
Absolutely.
Alignment.
I appreciate your insight, but look, I want to pivot really quickly because I do want you to talk about what you came here to talk about, but I do appreciate you wanting to weigh in on our previous conversation. But we have a first-time WBOK visitor in our studio. Y'all say hey to Realtor Javon Jones over there. And I don't know if you could see her, but I'm going to tell you how cute she is. If you watch it, you're going to be able to see it. I told her when she sat down, I said something about buying stuff from cute people is easy to sell, huh? Hey, Javon, how you doing?
I'm great. Good morning. How are you?
Welcome to the Good Morning Show. So look, I know y'all are here wanting to talk about Black ownership, just fiscal responsibility. And I know that's a hard pivot from the conversation we were having, but I don't want to take up all of the time talking about the previous conversation and you miss out on the opportunity to weigh in on the conversation you came here to talk about. But first things first, welcome to the Good Morning Show. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good.
You feeling good?
I'm feeling good.
So how's the real estate industry treating you?
Real estate is doing well. It's always rolling. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, but we rocking and we rolling.
So for a person who's never ever even thought about owning a home, it's scary, change is hard. You've been renting your whole life. What's some advice you would give to a person? Because I have a cousin that's probably listening and she's never owned a home and she's ready to take that leap. What advice would you give her? What is the first thing she should consider?
Reach out to me or Cindy.
Come on now. What a bell at?
Step one.
Let me plug myself real quick. So if she wanted to reach out to you, what's the website or phone number that she can do that?
So Cindy and I both work at the same brokerage, NOLA Home Realty Group. It is a smaller boutique brokerage, but I like it. It has a good family feel. The website is nolahomerealtygroup.com. Mm-hmm. But you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff.
Same name, NOLA Home Realty Group,
yes,
on Instagram and Facebook. Mm-hmm. So, cuz if you're listening, they have two realtor gurus in here. Powerful Black women, beautiful Black women, and I'm hearing they selling. If you buying, they selling.
if your grandmother is selling a shack in her backyard, we selling it for her.
So let's talk about the challenges in home ownership. What are some unique challenges specific to Black folk or folk who come from not generational wealth, but they're just working very hard? Middle class America. What are some pitfalls or some challenges that you want to talk about in terms of Black home ownership?
So I think Black home ownership is deeply rooted in historical disparities. Mm-hmm. We see that there is some redlining in real estate. We see that there is some segregation there, discriminatory practices. So there's a lot going on in real estate, but I think that the best plan of action is to reach out to someone who is educated, who has some foot in the game, who's been doing it a while. Hopefully, if they've been doing it a while, they're experienced, and potentially a New Orleans native. But when we go back to Black home ownership, we just want to make sure that we are bridging the gap between what we see in the industry and what we know. We just want to make sure that we're providing as much information to our clients as possible to get them ready to either buy or sell real estate. I know I just went on a tangent. I'm not.
I enjoy talking to you because when you are an expert in your lane, the conversations can go a multitude of ways.
It does.
Because when you don't have the experience or you're not an expert in your lane, you're linear. You can only sit here. But the fact that you can maneuver here and there tells me that you know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
So you don't have to ever apologize here because, baby, when I get to talking about education, the conversation can go wherever I take it.
Correct.
But thank you for your expertise. But what I will ask you, Ms. Javon, is it a buyer's market right now or is it a seller's market? Because I know there's a difference. Right, Cindy? What's the market right now?
Right now, I would say that it is a buyer's market.
Okay.
Just because, let's say we've been through some tough times these last couple of years. We've had some good times, some bad times. But I do think that it is a buyer's market now because sellers are willing to give a little bit more to get their house sold because they do know that the prices are a little bit higher, insurance are a little bit higher. So they're willing to, budget a little bit.
So are there any financing opportunities that the folk who are listening should know about? Like, is there any first-time home buyer money, some soft second money? Like, is there any opportunities out there for them to get access to some capital?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if there's any soft second money. That's not really my wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that I don't work with first-time home buyers. I'm just at the point in my career where most of my business come from referrals. However,
She
there
talking
are
heavy right now. If y'all didn't catch that, she talking heavy right now. That's not her wheelhouse right now because most of her business come from somebody saying, y'all go holler at Cindy.
Right.
She know how to get it done.
But there are some grants available through, I know Whitney Bank has grant funding depending on the location of the property, the price of the property. They have some funding up to like $10,000, I believe.
And I know our partners with Liberty Bank and Home Bank as well have some opportunities. So if you are in the market for buying or selling, we have some powerhouse realtors right here, but we also have some partnerships with Liberty and Home Bank for the financing opportunities. So shout out to Liberty and shout out to Home Bank. If you are searching for a home, what is it? NOLA
Home.
NOLA Home Realty Group. Y'all have to give them an opportunity to earn your business. So let's talk about building wealth through home ownership. What does that look like? Because I have a home and people are always telling me that your home is your biggest asset. Talk about that for us.
Yeah, it is. It's one of the biggest purchases that you'll probably ever make in your life. And hopefully it won't be just that one purchase. Hopefully you're gonna do it over and over again. So I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Ask the question.
The home being your biggest asset. And so we were talking about how, because I always talk, people tell you that your home is your biggest asset, that you, as long as you have a home, you have something that you can, I wouldn't say barter with, but something that you can have as collateral.
So yeah, you can barter with it actually. So the more that you pay down, well, first, if you get a property in a great location for a great price, hopefully you walk into that home with equity. The more you pay down that mortgage, the more equity that you have in that property. So you can use the equity or take it out with, which is what's called a HELOC. Essentially, it's a
Home equity line of credit. I'm talking about that right now. So HELOC or not to HELOC? That is the
exactly.
question.
I say to HELOC.
I
say to HELOC.
I got that free game right quick. So why? Why would I do that?
Because the interest rate tends to be a lot lower than a regular line of credit, right?
Okay.
So let's say you have a Chase card and your interest on that Chase credit card may be 24%, but you got this home equity line of credit over here and the interest rate might be 4.8%. Which one are you going to go with? You're going to go with the equity home line of credit. It just makes more sense. The great thing about the home equity line of credit is that you use it when you need it. So let's say you go ahead and take out the credit from that home. So look at it like a credit card. You're taking out that line of credit today, but you can say, oh, I don't need it today. I'm going to use it 10 years from now.
Okay.
And that's perfectly fine. So people use a home equity line of credit for anything. If you have a major repair in your home, if you want to buy a boat, or if you want to send your kids to college, you can use it for whatever you choose to.
That's amazing. And listen, I know if you're watching, you saw another beautiful woman join the conversation, and we're going to let Cindy Dunn bring her into the conversation. Tell us who just joined us here on WBOK 1230 AM.
So we have the lovely, talented, very, very, very smart Tashara Gray with Gray's Tax Express.
Come on, join the conversation. How are you?
Hello, good morning.
So how do you fit into this black wealth building conversation?
Well, I am in the business of finance. I'm in the business of finance. And so when you go to your realtor, the first thing they ask you about is your tax return. Of course, that's because that's what the bank asks for. So that's where I come in. When you are interested in purchasing a home, your tax preparer or accountant or whomever need to know at least 2 years in advance. Because what happens is we deal with your financials. If your financials are inaccurate, the bank has a tendency of denying you, i.e. income. You have to have income. So most people, what we find is when they have a business, they have a tendency of writing off all their expenses. Well, when you go to the realtor, Miss Cindy, she's going to say, you're going to have to amend.
Okay.
Meaning the banks look for income first. They want to make sure you can pay your mortgage and do everything for your home. So we take a look at your financials in its entirety. We discuss them. We plan 2 years in advance, minimum, to get you prepared to purchase your home.
So that's where she fits in. So even before you go to the phenomenal Javon or the phenomenal Cindy, you got to go over there and see Tashara over there at Gray's Tax Services. So that's where she fits in. So what is the role? Like, we talking about the role of like financial education. How is it important? How important is it, I should say, for folks to understand their fiscal health picture in terms of home ownership? How important is it for you to know where you stand in terms of buying power?
Well, what we look at initially is ensuring that you can take care of your bills outside of your initial excitement.
Mm-hmm.
We all get excited about purchasing our home. So the first thing we look at is your financials in its entirety. If there is a gap in income or anything of that nature, then we start planning on how to ensure that you are successful when you're going to your underwriters. I find that people think that it's just that 1 year and it's done. Well, technically it's not. You have to ensure that you plan for your hardship because, fun fact, you are the landlord.
And what is this phenomenon that goes on with folk who go to the bank and they get qualified or pre-approved for $250,000 and they think they have to buy a $250,000 house? Well, what is that phenomenon? Because I see that a lot. Like folk they thinking, oh, this is how much I got, so I need to go spend it all. It's okay to go get the $160,000 house. You ain't got to spend it all, right? No. I mean, I'm not the professional here, so I'm gonna let you go ahead on and tell me about that.
No, you don't. You don't have to spend it all. But what we do say is that we want you to get qualified for as much as the bank would allow.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you get, not qualified, pre-approved, because there is a difference between being pre-qualified and pre-approved. We want to see a pre-approval.
Okay.
We don't want to see a qualification letter.
Okay.
A qualification just means that you talked to a lender, you told them whatever you told them, and they're like, oh, okay, well, based on the information that you provide, you are pre-qualified.
Mm-hmm.
A pre-approve is when you're submitting documentation, they're running your credit, and we know that you're in good standing.
Okay.
So let's say hypothetically you get pre-approved for $500,000, but you come to me and say, Cindy, I know I was pre-approved for $500, but I only want to spend $400.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to stay in that bracket. Or if you say I want my mortgage to look like $2,000 a month, including my taxes and my insurance and everything. So we're going to take a look at that and see where do you stand, what you're willing to pay for versus the location, if it's feasible or not, because obviously we know houses can range based on the location that they're located.
So if I'm looking to do some business, why would I choose NOLA Home Realty Group? Why? Why you?
Why me?
Yes. Why your brokerage?
Our brokerage, I always say this, we're like a family.
Mm-hmm.
And we always have the answer to the questions. If I don't have the answer, I can either reach out to Cindy, I can reach out to my broker, somebody be able to give it to you. And I think that's, having skin in the game, you need that because every transaction is completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the beauty of coming to NOLA Home Realty Group.
And I heard Cindy say preferably a New Orleans native.
Oh, I agree, 100%.
So what are the perks or
because it's a small city, we know the city. I'm from the Gentilly area. If somebody I deal with a lot of people who are moving, and I just had my last client. They moved in from Ohio. They said, okay, we want to live somewhere that has sidewalks. And when I heard that was so weird to me because pretty much everywhere here has sidewalks. Mm-hmm. But then when I did some research, okay, maybe there aren't some places that have sidewalks. But, just meeting them where they at. So you want this, this, and this. I'm able to give that to you because I grew up in this area and I grew up in this city and I know where you can find it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the accent might work for you, too. When they coming from Ohio, they want to hear baby, let me tell you where you don't want to live. And speaking of that gentrification and displacement, I think that's a big thing because we have such a huge influx of people coming from all over the country coming to settle here. So gentrification is affecting many Black communities, particularly in urban areas. How does this phenomenon impact Black home buyers, and what can be done to ensure that they aren't displaced as neighborhoods changed?
I find that it's those who aren't homeowners that's being widely affected versus, the homeowners. Because, if you own a home, they can't put you out, right? Mm-hmm. Or they can't push you out.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear people often say that interest rates are too high because they're looking at what interest rates were during COVID. Interest rates are right where they're supposed to be. We just saw COVID and, we saw a historical change in interest rates, and that's what people wanted. That's where they want to buy, when interest rates were 3% and 2.5%. But I tell people that if you don't purchase a property, you're paying 100% of the interest rate of your landlord. So I see that most people who are affected it's not really the homeowners so much, but it's renters.
And that's a scary thing too, because when you're in a community where the wages are low and you're struggling to just keep the lights on, it's hard to even consider home ownership. So you settle for renting because that's what you could afford. But then you're the first people on a chopping block when that rent consistently goes up and you're pushed out, then you have no place to go. So what is the importance, one of y'all can chime in on not selling your grandmother's property? Like folk come in and I get a call almost every day or a text, somebody soliciting information about selling or buying my home. And I'm not going to tell you that I'm polite when I respond, because I'm not. I'm the wrong person to send that text to. But how important is it for us to educate our folk who do have pieces of property that they inherited or that was passed down generationally? How important is it to hold on to that?
Well, the first thing for me, remembering it's an asset. You have your liabilities versus your assets. Selling selling hard work will doom you later. Your property, no matter where it is, if somebody's trying to buy it, that means it has a lot of value in it, and it's generational value. So listen, when you don't have money in the bank, you have property. You can rent it out. You can short-term lease it, Airbnb. It's an asset.
Don't sell
it.
Don't sell it. It's plain and simple. Don't sell it. But that sounds almost basic to say, but you really have to say that to certain people, because if somebody comes and offers you $300,000, you bet your behind is probably worth twice that. And if they're offering that to you, you've never seen that kind of money ever in your life, it's attractive to you, and it's like, oh my God, But
so that's layered, right? So I completely agree with everything Tashara is saying, but I also want to state that one, if they're coming to you with a $300,000 offer, you're right. It's probably worth more than that. So you want to reach out to an expert first before you agree.
And who's that expert we need to
reach
out to?
That would obviously be me.
Come on. Cindy Dunn at NOLA Home Realty Group.
You want to reach out to an expert to make sure that you're getting what you're supposed to be getting. Let's say you do decide to sell that property. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to you selling your grandmother or your great-grandmother's property. And here's why. When Tashara was talking about the assets and liabilities, that property is an asset, but what do your liabilities look like? Can that property pay off the property that you currently live in? Can that property pay off some other bills that you and your family might have? So I think there's different ways to look at that situation. Yeah.
I appreciate the insight, because I'm always just thinking about this idea, especially when I think about New Orleans East, right? How so many Black families and Black homeowners were pushed out for whatever reason, whether it was the hurricanes pushed them out and they never came back, or just people, the insurance is kind of skyrocketing, they can't afford it. But I believe that is a part of our city that is a hidden gem. And I think that we need to start looking at ways to be able to occupy those spaces with people who look like us, who are indigenous to the community, because I believe that area is going to boom very shortly.
Let me tell you, I have firsthand knowledge that the East is coming back.
Say it closer to the mic so the people in the back can hear you.
I have firsthand knowledge that the East is coming back. So I would tell anyone who's listening, if your desire is to live in the East, and because maybe that's where you grew up or that's just where you want to be, get there now.
Get there now.
Because in a year or so, you won't be able to afford it,
baby. You won't be able to afford it. So, Javon, because I try to give my guests my attention equally, right? And I don't want you to feel left out, because it's two of them over here and I have to keep. But how important is it for Black individuals and families to work with Black real estate agents or professionals who understand their needs and unique challenges they may face?
I think it's very important. First off, it's a comfort level. I can meet you where you're at. You can talk to me about certain things that you may not want to talk to somebody else about. Oh, I'm not going to say somebody else, but somebody else about. I think it forms a stronger relationship, and it makes it a little bit easier.
What do you say to that? How important is it to have a Black agent, a Black tax preparer in a Black city looking for some property that's hopefully being bought and sold by Black folk?
Yeah, I think it's pivotal. What we see in real estate, we see that this this industry is oversaturated with older white women and gay white men. And I don't want to make this a race relations conversation, but it is what it is. People tend to want to work with people who are attractive, which is what we talked about off air, and people that look like them. So, you know, Black and brown people. I actually had 2 clients recently, most recently on Saturday. It was a older gentleman. He was a gentleman of color, and he specifically said that he wanted a woman because he felt like women can execute. I don't disagree with that. And he wanted a woman of color. So I think that when, like Javon was saying, that when we work with someone that looks like us and they can translate what our issues are, is easier. It's easier for us. We feel like family to them.
Well, listen, we have to go. Like I tell you, the time goes so fast when you're talking about the business of Black wealth building. But what is one thing you guys want to leave with our listening audience very quickly before we go?
Pay your taxes. Pay your taxes. Pay your taxes.
Pay your taxes. We are in conversation with Tashara Gray of Gray Tax Services, the tax expert, alongside Cindy Dunn, Realtor Cindy Dunn, and Realtor Javon Brooks from NOLA Realty Group. So
Javon
if you're
Jones.
I'm sorry, Jones. Correct me again.
Javon Jones.
Javon Jones. What did I call her? Brooks.
It's all right.
I'm sorry, Javon Jones. You know, I stand to be corrected now. We can't have it wrong because folks gonna be looking for you. They ain't gonna find you because I done said the wrong name. Javon Jones from NOLA Realty Group. So if you are looking to buy or sell, these are the girls that you need to be looking for. And it's NOLA Realty Group across all social media platforms and NOLARealtyGroup.com.
NOLA Home Realty Group.
NOLAHomeRealtyGroup.com.
Yes, ma'am.
So please make certain if you're buying or selling, look them up. This has been a great conversation. It has been a great show. I want to invite you guys to the front porch up next with Graylin and Kimba. This is WBOK 1230 AM. I am Dr. Ashanta White, and I'm going to see y'all next week.
Hey, you okay?
Later.
You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber